Greetings, folks. It's video 6. You may see how my hair has been gradually drying and puffing out throughout the video because I've probably been on here doing this for about an hour and a half. But this is really information that I need to get out that I want to share with you in case this helps somebody else. But I am putting this out here for purely selfish reasons also, because it is cathartic for me. So when we last left off, I was telling you the tail end of my experience talking to these spirit animals. And what we had discovered is that I'm of the opinion now that the black wolf was trying to deceive me. The red fox that appeared to me is a symbol that means somebody's trying to deceive you. Be careful. And the owl that appeared after the black wolf is also a symbol that means see through the deception. Somebody is trying to deceive you. Somebody is not who they seem. So, I think I figured it out. There's two things. Number one, the black wolf was trying to deceive me. But it's also me who is deceiving myself. How was I deceiving myself? Well, when I was reading about wolf tonight is when it really hit me. Until I reread Wolf's description, when I read Wolf's description, it was like the key that unlocked the puzzle. And I believe I have it now. And I'm not struggling, and I don't feel like I have any questions about what the messages are anymore, except for, why the black wolf was there in the first place. But once again, Wolf says the very first thing, if wolf shows up, it means characteristics and behaviors that no longer serve your spiritual purpose are being culled from your consciousness. So it hit me instantly. One thing that's been a hidden challenge of mine that I've struggled with for many years, about as long as this issue here that I've had with my digestive system, has been porn addiction. Now, I know some of you maybe want to laugh about that at first, but let me just give you a little history. Probably 1996 was my first real experience with being able to have the internet at home. Well, didn't have experience with porn on the internet at that time. Because you could only be on for like 10 minutes and then AOL would cut you off and then you'd have to wait like 30 minutes to get connected again. Well, that changed over time. Eventually, so we're talking about 1994 to 1996, up in that area. Eventually, you had, about 1998, we first had a viable source of cable modem. A cable modem was valuable because it was the fastest speed that was available. It was like 50 megabits per second. Okay. The highest speed dial-up would go was 32 kilobits, and actually there was one that went like 64, and then DSL was a telephone line based system. Anyway, couldn't afford cable modem, but because cable modem was available, other systems upped their speed. So in 1998, well, let me take that back. Between 1996 and 1998 was the first time I saw porn on the internet, and it was fascinating to me. And since I was a nerd and a recluse, not a recluse, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, yeah, recluse. introvert and shy and not good with the ladies and all this kind of stuff, and thought that I would lock myself away and well, I didn't think it would take up all my time, but I spent a lot of time learning programming because I figured I didn't need to go to college. I could just teach myself the shit at home out of a book and then get a job that way. Anyway, yeah, 1996, I was probably the first time I discovered internet porn. And at that time, it was a matter of how did I do it? That was when I actually started building a library on my hard drive of images. And I found that, it was hard to, at the time, there was no such thing as Google Images or Google Image Search or typing in cars and all of a sudden 8 pictures of cars shows up. The way Google worked at that time was you would type in cars and it would give you websites whose keywords were cars. But it may not be a picture of a car that showed up. It may be something else. And in a lot of cases, it wasn't what you were looking for. But if you went to that website, that web page, a picture on there would be appropriate to what you were looking for. I remember I was looking for a picture of a map of Mexico, and I would find all kinds of other stuff, but not what I was looking for, not a map of Mexico. So I ended up having to go to a map site and then just check the images on there. Actually, yeah, because there was no image search. There was just web search. So when I found a good image, then I would save it to my hard drive so that I wouldn't lose it, and I would be able to access that and use it essentially like clip art in projects and reports and whatever that I was doing. So like I said, around this time I discovered internet porn. I had heard about porn and how people were sharing porn on the internet. I'd heard about that for years, but I'd never actually experienced it. And then, 1998, I experienced porn in a big way. I mean, I just couldn't get enough. But I didn't think anything was wrong because I felt that, well, I'm home. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not married. I am an intellectual, so I have nerd tendencies. And it's normal for nerds not to get laid. So as long as I'm not getting laid, why not, watch porn and jerk off to it and get satisfaction that way. And so I'm going through some really personal stuff right now, so you don't have to listen to this if you don't want, but I'm putting this out there. This is, for a lot of people this would be really hard and embarrassing, but I've reached the tipping point of being embarrassed about things about myself and not telling people. And I've realized the solution is not to hide it, to shed a light on it, and maybe allow other people to help me with the things I'm struggling with. So what I discovered is, yes, looking back, I fell into a trap of being addicted to porn. And I remember in 1998, after probably 6 months of being up at night searching, and then I found like Napster type P2P program. I think what I was using was WinMX, and most recently Shareza is the one that I've been using. But WinMX was before Shareza and after Napster. And I used to use that to find porn all the time. Excuse me. And I would be up so late at night. I remember several times I would be up searching for porn, and it would be like, it really was like a drug, but I was in denial about it. I actually thought to myself, is it possible that I'm addicted to surfing internet porn? And there wasn't any studies. There wasn't any proof. There wasn't any such thing as internet addiction. There was speculation. It was starting to be a new trend, a new thing that some psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, whatever, were encountering, was people who said, men especially, who said that they couldn't stop searching for internet porn. They tried stopping, but they couldn't. But at the time, in 1998, there wasn't studies, there wasn't proof, there wasn't, oh yeah, this is a thing. There was, oh, I don't even know if that really exists. That might just be your wishful thinking. Of course, now, in 2014, they've pretty much demonstrated that internet porn addiction, or porn addiction, but especially internet porn addiction, is a real thing, and it is dangerous. And I will tell you about that in another video. But needless to say, I just want to kind of give you a quick timeline of my porn experience. So I was using WinMX in 1998. I was surfing porn. The first time I thought maybe I have a problem was when I literally, I was late for school or late for work, or wasn't late. No, I wasn't late. I was just super tired and went to work or school. I can't remember what it was. I think it must have been work, because I was doing telemarketing, and I didn't really care about that job, and I was pretty good at it, so it didn't take a lot. I didn't have to be 100% to be able to do that job, let's say. And anyway, so the reason that I was so tired is because I was up to 5 o'clock in the morning searching for porn. And I remember it was like I was searching for the right porn. It's like there was all this porn, but it didn't turn me on. It wasn't stimulating. And I never got into bondage or nothing like that, but I just kept looking for variety and something I hadn't already seen. And I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. And I still don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. But I do realize now that part of my character, no, it's not part of your character. Maybe it is. I'm not addicted to anything else. I smoke weed. I'm not addicted to it. In fact, I almost can't stand it. I tried smoking cigarettes one time. Didn't like it. Can't smoke cigarettes. Can't even stand smoke. Alcohol. I enjoy alcohol, but I'm not an alcoholic. And my body processes it really quickly. So I can have a good night, drinking all night. Whiskey, tequila, hard liquor, you name it. And I'll be good in like 2 hours. But I rarely drink, if ever. Just because lately I haven't had time to go out, and I've been on a fast. And not a fast, but a restrictive diet. Anyway, I promised I was going to be wrapping this up, didn't I? Yep, so the two things that happened were I was super tired. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, how the fuck did it get here? It seemed like it was only, it was 9 o'clock just a minute ago. And that's one thing that apparently happens, is time flies and you don't know where the time went. And then you're just super tired. And yeah, it was like I was trying to find a high, like I was trying to get that high, and I just couldn't find it. But at the time, I considered that that's what was going on, but I didn't know how to stop it. Nobody else was aware of it. There wasn't anybody I could talk to about it, and no support groups or anything, and nobody else that I was aware of that, would be willing to admit that they had that issue also. So I suffered that in silence, and up until today have suffered that in silence, because it's been an ongoing thing. And the other thing that made me think maybe I have a problem was when I actually started to have wrist problems from mouse clicking, from downloading so much porn, clicking through web pages and then right clicking to download files, and horrible. I moved to Minnesota, and then I just had more access to the porn because I had DSL, which was faster speed, and I was up all night surfing porn. I remember part of my interest in learning Perl was using it to what I learned later is called screen scrape porn websites automatically. Yeah, that's what I was using Perl for, was that. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I learned a lot by having that as a motivation. But I can see now something that I never realized was that the porn addiction desensitized me to real women, so that real women started not to turn me on anymore. And I never knew what that really meant, but it just started making sense tonight, because I see a lot of beautiful women when I go out who, aren't perfect 10s or whatever, but I consider them beautiful, and maybe they're door next door, maybe they're a cheerleader, maybe they're athletic, maybe they're a little bit fluffy, maybe they're a midget. It doesn't matter. But for some reason I don't get aroused, by talking to them. It feels like I even bother talking to them. It's a weird feeling. It's like I know they're sexy. I know there was a time when that's what I'm attracted to. Why don't I feel arousal or attraction? It's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain for me to put into words. But so it hit me tonight, and I said, you know what? This wolf is trying to tell me to stop my internet porn addiction. That porn doesn't serve me anymore. And so then I went online and said, how to stop porn addiction, and a whole bunch of YouTube videos came up. And one of them was really informative, and basically sung my life with its song, so to speak. Everything that it said was my story. And it was saying how there was this desensitization that happens in the brain, and it's not your fault. But it's like once you start looking at internet porn, because the next piece of porn is just a click away, your brain just rapidly gets desensitized to the last thing you saw, and now you got to see something else to get the same kind of, arousal, sensitivity, or reaction. And that's exactly been my story. And when I lived with Mom just recently, I was able to pull myself away from porn for months. But when she started stressing me big time at the end, and it just got really, really stressful, the only relief I could find, since I couldn't eat certain foods and I was on this, the only dopamine that I could release instantly was to go find some porn, online porn. Man, and then that just drew me right back into it. So what I realized tonight is this. We'll put this in the next video.